Good evening, people. Welcome to the first ever episode of RTV Sports. Today, we're going to speak about Game Week 1 of the Premier League Fantasy Football. Joining me today, a very special guest, straight from South Park, Mr. Butters himself.
Hi,
But on the
Rushdie.
screen, you can see he went to the name Habib. How are you doing?
Hi, Rushdie. I'm good, good. It's just a bit cold in the mother city tonight, but we carry on, we survive, and we'll get through this winter.
Yeah, at least we don't have load shedding at the moment. So we'll
We
take what
can
we can
thank,
get.
yeah, we'll thank ISCOM for that.
Yeah. For now, yeah.
Yeah,
Just before we get started, you are a Man United fan,
yeah,
as far as I know. Yeah, I've
still.
seen you sometimes with Barcelona sweater though, but I won't question you on that.
Yeah,
uh,
a long-suffering Manchester United fan. I've been through the glory days, and like Liverpool fans, I now have to suck it up and endure this miserable period. Hopefully, it comes to an end soon. But for the time being, we endure.
so you have City on Saturday, Community Shield. How are you
Yeah.
feeling about that at the start of the season?
To be honest, I'm still not sure what to make of United. They've made a couple of signings. Leriano is now Yoros is injured.
Euro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's injured for a few months. I hear that he's gone for surgery. Joshua Zirkzee, I think he's going to take a bit of time to bed into the team.
adjust. Yeah,
Yeah, so I honestly don't know what kind of system they're playing. Rasmus Højlund's injured. Who's going to
yeah.
play up front? There's lots of rumors
How
circulating
long
on
is
on
Holland, England, injured? For a week? Sorry, a month? Oh,
yeah, about I don't think he'll be out for too long, but the lack of
yeah,
striking options is a bit worrying. The fact that they still haven't really addressed
yeah,
it is pretty
yeah.
shocking, but I think the club's financial situation plays into that as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I'm just gonna share my screen so we can get started. While I'm doing that, fantasy football. How long have you been playing this game? I put
So,
game in inverted commas.
so I think I started my first season in 2006. I haven't I have a lot of advice for people, but I haven't been extremely successful.
Yeah,
So I'm like one of those pundits that haven't had a very good career, but giving the most
yeah,
advice. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I've been placed in the top 20,000 a couple of times. I think that's with due to the rising amount of players, that's a bit
yeah,
impossible now. But I think now
yeah. But it
if you're
depends.
ranked in the
Like,
yeah, if you're ranked in the top million or top 500,000 these days, it's pretty good.
yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So, um, the new season for the first time in a while came with some rule changes. I actually don't know why they took so long to change the rules. Um, Before we get to the what they implemented, what would you like to see as some of the rule changes for fantasy going ahead?
Yeah. So one of my biggest pet peeves has been the profit when you sell a player. So before, if you sold a player for a certain amount, then you'd only get half of the profit. So if a player cost 8 million and you sold
Oh,
him
okay.
for 9 million, you'd only get 8.5 back. I don't
You
know
know
the
why I'm
reasoning
laughing?
behind that. Why?
Now I'm laughing because your first thing is straight to something accounting related. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the world I live in. So
Yeah,
that's always been one of my pet peeves. It's not something that they have changed yet. I don't know if it's something that they will change, and I really do hope they do change it. Um, Another one that I think they should introduce is injury time being added to the amount of minutes played. So a player might join the game in the 31st or the 32nd minute of a game, and they play right till the
yeah,
end, and especially if it's a defender, and they'll just
yeah,
get 1 point. And these days, injury time is so long.
yeah,
You could get up to 10 minutes of injury time through a game, and they'd still just get that 1 point. Whereas if they had to include injury time, they might get the 4 points for a clean sheet and that extra point for 60 minutes plus. Another one, my
But
final one
okay, yeah.
is. You want to
I'm
add to
just
that?
trying to get this damn presentation. No, no, no. You can continue.
The other one is I think that players should also get points for shots on target. Goalkeepers get points for, I think they get 1 point for every third save. So it makes sense that
They
players
do.
also get points for shots on target.
Shots on target. That's. But how many shots on target per point would you say?
You could work on the same system as a goalkeeper. You could work on for every 3 shots on target you get a point. I don't think we need to get too
Yeah,
technical about something like that. We can keep it simple.
yeah, that's true. Okay, so something I want to see. Um, so because it's Premier League fantasy, I feel like they should reduce the number of players that you can have per team to 2 players per team,
Okay.
just to force you to use some of the players from a position 10 to 20. Because now,
Yeah.
like a lot of people, they will triple up on Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, City. You know what I mean? Even though you can't always triple up, but then they use the smaller teams just as a filler.
Yeah.
Like they'll go look at your Ipswich for your fours and 4.5s and so on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Understood.
So that's
That
like
makes
that's like
sense.
something, yeah.
No,
And
it
then
makes
another
sense.
thing, yeah,
I mean, most people I know. I'm probably in that category. My team is probably made up of players from 4 or 5 teams. Uh, so my whole squad of 15,
yeah, yeah,
and the
yeah,
majority of my players
yeah,
are players that play in teams in probably the top 7 or top 8.
yeah,
So limiting it, it might make a difference. You see more variations as well.
yeah. Can you see this my screen at the moment?
Yeah.
Okay, can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes, I can.
Just trying to make it big. Good. Okay, so this season there's been a few positional changes. I don't know, have you made a draft yet? Or you just
Off.
registered? Of
Of
your team so far?
yes. So I started my team last week, but that
Yeah,
was mostly just to get my leagues active.
yeah,
And I've been tweaking it here and there, looking at the newly promoted teams as well, because I think that's where you can get a lot of value for money. So especially there's a couple of fullbacks in the newly promoted teams that we can really look at,
yeah, yeah.
which will offer a lot nice value for money there.
Yeah. I think from these positional changes, the one that sticks out for me is in Kunku.
Yeah.
Because of his value, because Palmer we'll see is like 10.5.
Yes.
So I don't know. It's that 10.5 is a bit. I don't know how the new manager is going to use him compared to Pochettino last year.
Yeah, I think we also have to be careful that Cole Palmer will probably not have as good a season as he had last
Yes, yeah,
season.
yeah,
Um, I don't know. I'm still very uncertain about Enzo Maresca. He's had just basically one job with Leicester, and even towards the end,
yeah,
they struggled in the championship.
yeah,
The fans got very frustrated. So um, I would, for 10.5, I would be very reluctant to choose
yeah,
Cole Palmer. I think Christopher Nkunku provides again good value for money. He's had a
yeah,
injury ravaged season last season,
yeah,
and he could come good and be a focal point for Chelsea.
yeah. And at least he's played most of the preseason games.
Yeah, so,
And the only thing with Palm is he's on the penalties and all the set pieces.
yeah,
So I usually try to have as many of those
yeah.
in
Look,
my team as I can.
I think he's a brilliant player, but in
Yeah,
fantasy football, doesn't matter how good you are technically. It's about the players who
yeah,
actually score points for you.
yeah. That's true. That's true. That is why your Rodri's okay. Rodri actually does get points, but your
Yeah, last season he had actually had a very good
defensive
season.
midfield players usually don't get rewarded. That's also something
Yeah,
we should
yeah.
see actually. More points for ball recoveries and tackles
Yes.
and things like
Like
that.
you wouldn't put in Golo Kante in your team, would
Yeah,
you?
Even though
It's
he
just
probably get like maximum 5 goals for the whole
yeah,
season.
yeah,
Yeah, but I mean that's not profitable.
yeah,
The other changes, Havertz. Uh, I don't know about Havertz, but the other one is Martin from Villa. I think I'll
yeah,
probably include him in my
yeah. I think
team.
it's worth a punt.
Yeah,
Again, but Aston Villa playing
yeah,
Champions
you
League
don't
football.
know. Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. Playing Champions League football, there might be a bit of a rotation. He might not
Yeah,
play as many games as we think he will play. I think they got Luca Dean
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
So they have
And they have that
options.
other. There's another left-footed player they have also.
Yeah.
What is his
So,
name? I forgot his name now. But yeah,
but
so they
yes,
have
this
options there. But he plays
rotation.
further. He can play further forward also. Left
Yeah,
wing
he
back.
can. I mean,
Yeah,
that's probably why he was his position last season was a midfielder.
midfielder.
But
Yeah,
yeah, it's worth a punt for Ian Matson, definitely.
yeah. And then just a few of the changes. Palmer, apparently the biggest change in FPL history from 5 to 10.5 is ridiculous
Yeah.
change actually. But it's not surprising with all the points that he got last year.
Yeah, again, I don't think I highly doubt he's going to get anywhere near that figure. Was he the
Yeah,
highest scoring player last season?
I
I think
think so.
I think
I
he
think
was the
so.
highest. Yeah, I think he
Yeah, I
was.
think Haaland was up there also.
Yeah, it's going to
Saka
be
was
it's
there.
but at 10.5. Again, I don't know what to expect from Chelsea this season. They had a terrible start
Yeah,
last season. Um, Again, I'm still unsure about the manager. I thought they were going somewhere with Mauricio
yeah.
Pochettino. Um,
And they have City on the first game.
yeah, away. So
So,
again,
no, they're at home. They're at home. They're at
oh,
Stamford Bridge.
it's Chelsea at home.
Yeah, yeah,
Even yeah, I still don't. I mean, they could put up a good fight. They could get a draw. I
yeah,
don't think they'll beat City.
yeah,
Um, so I would suggest not putting any Chelsea defenders in your
yeah.
team.
Yeah, definitely. But if you look at the fixtures afterwards, after that, they have like a good run
Yeah,
of
that
games. Uh, where they have, I have it here somewhere. Let me just check quickly. This yeah, if you just can you see my screen?
yes, I can.
Okay, so you got the Chelsea, eh? Just look at the fixtures. So after City, can you see there's like a one, two, three, four, like
Yeah,
7 games of all two difficulty
all winnable.
rating. So
I would
it could
say
be worth it just to keep someone off Chelsea in your squad
yeah.
or on
I
your
think
bench against.
Palace, West
Yeah.
Ham, and Brighton could be a bit tricky. Even Wolves, but Wolves aren't. It's not the same team that they were
You don't know what to expect.
two or
Yeah,
three seasons, two
yeah,
or three seasons ago. But then again,
yeah.
so
But
does
they play
Chelsea.
well though. They have a good brand of football.
Yeah, yeah. I
Since
think
under
they've
yeah,
changed a lot since Nuno Espirito Santos. Their brand of
yeah,
football has
yeah.
changed
But
quite a bit.
Gary O'Neill's is a good manager.
Yeah.
He's a
So I
good
mean
coach. He's a
that
good
could be a
coach.
tricky one as well. West Ham away, it's a London derby. That could be tricky.
Yeah.
Brighton at home with a new
I'm
manager.
surprised. I'm surprised West Ham away is a two, actually.
I would have expected at least a three,
A
to be
three, yeah,
honest.
yeah.
Um, that's
But
a
maybe
that's a
it's
bit.
just also according to where they finished. Like, look at United away is a three. I don't think that's a three. It's probably a four because of the rivalry between the
Yeah,
teams. You know what I
uh,
mean?
yeah. They probably look at the last season's finishing where the team has finished. I mean, if United play
Yeah.
anyone now, anyone that United play will be a five then based on that.
We'll see now. You sound like your team is giving you nightmares.
I've learned with age. I've learned to just get
You learn
over
to be
it.
me back in the
No,
day.
it doesn't affect me. As I said, I've learned to be like Liverpool fans in the mid 2000, we'll say early 2010s when
Yeah.
it was pretty rough.
Both Voronen. Do you remember Voronen?
Oh wow, Varnen and Milan,
Oh,
was it Jovanovic?
yes. That
Yes,
idiot. Oh my god.
and then
That
there was
couldn't hit the ball. I
Tosena.
still look at that meme sometimes.
And there was the Senna, and there was that Paulson. Was it Christian Paulson?
Yeah, Christian Paulson. He was like
Oh,
our Rodri. He was supposed to be our Rodri kind of guy.
yeah, that was not
But
a good
never
time for Liverpool fans.
materialized.
Konchesky as well.
Yeah, terrible days. And also, this is the fixture difficulty tracker. So according to the fixtures, and according to their data, Liverpool have the best opening 5 games.
Yeah,
I don't know how you feel about that. But I actually agree. Like if you look at the first game is an early kickoff, so obviously it can be tricky and newly promoted team, all those things. But on paper, besides Old Trafford, we should at least see 12 out of 15 points minimum for
yeah.
me personally.
I think they aren't. Look, there's not many easy fixtures in the Premier League anymore. But
Yeah,
if you look at Liverpool's first 6 games, I think that's about as good as it can get. Besides the United fixture, I mean, coming to Old Trafford it's always tricky. It doesn't matter
yeah,
what form United are in. I've seen
yeah.
United in their dominant period go to Anfield and lose
And
three
lose.
seasons
Yeah,
in a row. It's and
yeah,
Liverpool weren't great. At the
yeah,
same time, United have had terrible seasons and beaten Liverpool often.
yeah. Well, let's do a
Like,
draw like last season.
yeah, last season there were 2 draws and United knocked them out of the
Yeah,
FA Cup as well.
yeah,
So you never know what you can get with those fixtures. I mean, Liverpool could win that 5-0, but they could lose
yeah.
3-0 as well.
Anything can happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why. That's actually the worst fiction for me to watch. It just means so
yeah,
much that it's so difficult to watch. You feel like every time the other team is in position, they're gonna create something. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, the play, before I think there was a time when it was technically not the best game. I do think it's changed. The games have become a lot more exciting than it was in the past.
Yeah,
But
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 that's
but we'll
also
see.
because, but that's also like recently Klopp was there and he was like known for his pressing style, attacking, go for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Even though yeah, that's just in general, but at Old Trafford we always seem to struggle to get our game going.
yeah, yeah. United fans are really up for that game. It's
Yeah, yeah,
Roy Keane called them the prawn brigade, prawn sandwich brigade back in the day, and I think it's still like that. But when Liverpool comes to town, it's a completely
yeah,
different affair. It's
yeah.
still the biggest game in England for me.
No, definitely in the world for me personally.
Yeah,
Obviously, people say Barca Madrid, but Barca Madrid has fallen off.
yeah.
For me
No, no, no.
personally,
Yeah,
I still watch it every season, but it's not the same like when Messi and Ronaldo, Xavi, those guys were there.
yeah. It was super
And with
heated.
Mourinho
Yeah.
arguing, what did he do to one guy on the sideline?
Oh, Tito Villanova,
He
he
poked
poked
his.
him
Oh
in
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
poked him in the eye.
Yeah, he poked someone. Yeah,
It was classic Mourinho, but I mean that was peak El Clasico. That was at that time that
yeah.
was the biggest game in the world.
And
You can't take
and
that
it
away
felt
from
like
them.
that time they used to play each other like 6 times a season because they would get
Yeah,
drawn in Copa del
yeah,
Rey, in Champions League, and all those. And
yeah.
coming
That,
back to
that, was, that
this,
was yeah.
let's find out just any other teams that stand up in Newcastle. For me, also has a good opening set of fixtures.
Yeah, I saw Newcastle, and I think Villa was the other one that has a
Yeah,
good
and
run.
yeah, and I
I
think
think.
Isak is the most selected player
Oh,
because
really?
of yeah, I think he's the most selected player at the moment because of that run. It's probably going to
Yeah,
be
I
the
mean,
most captain.
yeah. Newcastle. There's no European football now. There's no distractions. Um, Sandro Tonali is coming back as well soon. I don't think it will be right at the start of the season.
Yeah, yeah, it's not
Um,
at the start. Yeah. I think it's
so
September possibly.
yeah, so these teams like Villa, Liverpool, Newcastle, they need to take advantage of this, especially before European football starts. The
Yeah,
fixtures won't be coming as thick and fast. Take
yeah, yeah, yeah,
advantage of it. Try to be near the top of the table because the
yeah.
Premier League it's so competitive. You can't afford now to be left behind.
And I see you guys are third. I don't know if you agree. if you agree with that.
As I said, every game is difficult for United. I'm not going to comment on this.
But at least I
Well,
think you start at home. At least you're
yeah, I
starting at
think
home this
I think they've started at home. It was a stat I think I
like
saw
for a
last season. They've
decade or
started
something.
at
Yes,
home.
it's like
Yeah,
8 years, I think.
it's been a long streak
Yeah,
where they've started at home, and
yeah,
they've always had favourable fixtures.
But I
But I
meant
lost
more
it.
in terms of your injuries and situation that you have at the moment. So it's not like
Yeah,
you City going to Chelsea away with the injury issues that you have at the moment. So at least you at home
yeah. These injury
for the
issues
start of the
have.
season.
It sounds like they've been talking about injury issues for years now. Something's happening. Is I don't know if it's the water that they're drinking at that club, but
Yeah.
there's just far too many injuries. And the season hasn't even started, and we're already talking
Yeah.
about injuries.
But
So something needs to change.
it's just random. There's nothing really you can. It's not like they're putting muscles. You know what I mean?
There were a lot of muscular
You're
injuries. I think
yeah.
last
Last
season.
season, yeah. I
Yeah,
meant the two the people that are out now.
yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah.
Euro was
So
an
last
impact.
Mm. So that last season there were a lot of muscular injuries. They were talking about players not being fit enough, or is the training too intense? But we'll see now once the games start kicking off, and if players are
Yeah.
still getting muscular injuries, then questions need to be asked.
But also a lot of people are complaining that it doesn't rotate with the team properly. Like especially
Yeah,
during his first season, like you would have like Charlton at home, and it will be like the full strength team
yeah,
that started, and then again on the weekend, like Bruno played the whole season probably, if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken.
Bruno and even Bruno got injured for the first
Yeah,
time in, I
for
think,
the
in his
first time
career.
last season. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I,
So a lot of
but for
people are
me,
upset with the management of the players.
if he doesn't want to rotate on the right wing, and that means keeping Anthony out of the team, I'm more than happy with that.
Yeah, but then, would you sell Anthony now?
If I mean, if a bid comes of,
I think only probably Saudi can probably take his
yeah,
wages.
if a
Probably.
bid comes in of, if I would say about 35, just based purely on the fact that they paid 80 plus million for him. If you can get
Yeah,
35 and just recoup something, I would
yeah,
seriously consider it, because
yeah,
I just don't see it working out.
yeah. But I think for him there's a coaching issue because I've seen that on a random occasion he takes the ball and he will like sprint down the line and take on his man, but then
Mm.
80% of the time he gets the ball and then he passes back. And, do you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
not that he's
he
not
cuts back.
capable because he does
Mm.
have pace and he does have a shot on him like those vintage left foot goal shot. He does have it in his locker,
Yeah.
but he doesn't produce it like regularly enough. I don't
Yeah,
know
it's
why.
a big step up from the Eredivisie, and unfortunately for him, the defenders are a lot more savvy. Um,
Yeah,
they coached. I no, with all due respect, I think they coached a lot better. Um, but again, he takes a man on. He tries to cut back,
yeah,
and he needs to simplify his game basically.
yeah. And also, just looking at game week one. So this is just my rough draft. Okay, so let's actually start from the goalkeepers. How do you view goalkeepers in this game? Do you look for the clean sheet? Do you look to just save money? Do you look for the save points? What is your view on the goalkeepers?
So I mean, goalkeepers and defenders to a lesser extent is very much a gamble. I mean, these days anyone
Yeah,
can concede a goal. I think, was it Jordan Pickford that got the most
yeah,
clean
he was
sheets?
top.
The fact that he got
Yeah,
the most
no,
clean
wasn't
sheets.
Onana top?
No, I don't think it was Onana. I don't
Maybe,
know.
it
I'm
was.
not sure if it,
But he was up there.
yes, I think Edison was in line for it, but then he got injured.
Okay, okay,
Um, but I mean, the fact that Jordan Pickford got the got the most points, and considering how low Everton finished, says a lot,
yeah,
to be honest.
yeah.
Um,
No, yeah, but
so
they had a good run of clean sheets that they didn't want
yes,
to
exactly.
get
So
back to.
that's why
Yeah,
I'm saying, it's such a gamble which goalkeeper you're going to put in. Um, you could put in again a Pickford might get half of the clean sheets he got last season.
yeah.
United's defense might come good this season, and Onana might
Yeah,
keep a
you
lot more
see,
clean sheets.
that is you see the first player I put in my team this year was Lissandro Martinez.
Yes.
When I saw his price was 4.5, I was like, what is this a joke or something? Like that's very low
No.
for him. But the thing is, you don't know because United conceded so many shots last
Yeah.
season that you don't know even if that is worth it. And it's not like he gets that many goals from set pieces. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. For a short player, he does have quite a jump. I mean, he's handled Erling Haaland quite well,
Did you
especially in
score
the
in the
FA Cup
Premier League
final.
before?
He has scored. He scored a couple of goals, not many. But
I don't know.
United centre backs, I'm not too sure about. Not too sure about him. I'm not too
Yeah.
sure. I'll be honest.
Like I think that Onana, there's a strong case that if you don't like if you set up the way you set up last season, then obviously you'll be good for save points because he faces a lot of shots.
Yeah, I think that's
So
and if you look at the total points he's gotten the fourth highest points. Considering
yeah,
that
he's
how
good.
many
Yeah.
goals they've conceded,
Exactly.
it's
And how
that's
many
that's pretty
thumpings
good.
he took. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good showing from him. And as I said, if United's defense can just put a little bit more in, be a bit more structured,
Yeah.
he could be up there.
Yeah. And I think it's the way I look at it. Yeah. Like I like I try to think which defense is the strongest. So technically it's Arsenal this season.
Yeah,
Well, from last season. So then my dilemma, I try to go for what is my lowest value route into the defense. So like all the defenders, I think they're all 6, possibly 5.5. Yeah, like look at Ben White is 6.5. And
I,
Saliba gathered all 6. So that's why I have actually I think that's why I put in Rayo here because it was the cheapest route for me to get
yeah,
into the
I
clean
wouldn't
sheets.
I wouldn't bet too much on Ben White this season. I don't think he's going to start every game. Julian Timber's coming back from injury.
But
I
I think at the start of the season, I
Yeah,
think he'll keep it the same.
yeah. If you're
Like
looking at
I
Ben
don't
White
think
for long term,
yeah,
then I don't think
I
it's going to
don't
work.
I don't even think he will put in Calafiori at the start even.
Mm.
Because
Yeah,
honestly, I don't think they really need to. I think they have Wolves
yeah,
first. I don't know. They do have actually quite a tough start.
yeah. And that's the thing about fantasy football. I don't new signings, especially those coming in from
Yeah,
foreign leagues, they need time to
yeah,
adjust to the league.
exactly.
So it's not the best choice to put
To
them in
put
from the
in the
start.
new ones, yeah,
It's
yeah,
better to play it
uh,
safe, pick
yeah.
existing players, and see how it goes.
Agreed. Yeah, unless you can obviously see that they're having a good preseason, they're
Yeah,
definitely going to start
yeah,
because of injuries to the other players. But most of the time, I agree with you.
yeah. I mean,
And
City have.
defenders,
Mhm.
um, are you a 4.5 defender, or do you go for the Trent Alexander Arnold's, the Gvardiol, or do you like to have one and then the others cheap? One premium
So
and then others like low
yeah,
value.
so obviously, we try to go for goal scoring defenders or defenders who
Assists.
get quite a few assists. So we look
Yeah.
at Kieran Trippier, Trent Alexander Arnold. There's a defender that just came up from with Ipswich. I
Davis,
forgot
yeah,
his
that's sort
name.
of the.
Yes,
I
I
think
think
it's
it was Leaf
Davis.
Davis.
I believe
I think
Davis, yeah.
Leaf Davis.
Yeah.
I saw his assist stats for last season, and
They got like
I think
17 or 18 or something. It's
yes,
just,
it was by far the highest in the championship,
yeah,
and at a price of 4.5. I mean, you need
yeah.
to take that gamble. I think it's they have obviously their
Uh,
first two games are
yeah.
insanely difficult.
You couldn't ask for a harder start. Only Arsenal would
Yeah,
win the game.
but I mean,
But after that, they have a good run of games, though, so
yeah.
it's like that's
So
what
I
they
mean,
want to consider
you can
for
put
the
him on the
squad.
bench for the first couple of games and then see how it goes.
Also, one thing we actually I forgot to bring up was the change of rule where you can accumulate up to 5 transfers.
Yes.
What
So
do you
I
what do
think
you think about that?
yeah, I think that's a game changer, especially those managers who have a settled team who don't think they'll need transfers right now. To be able to bank 5 transfers is a big one, and it really benefits those managers who are thinking long term.
Yeah, I think it favors those who like to strategize but I think it'll be very rare that someone gets to 5 transfers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Because there's so much that can happen. There's injuries.
Yeah,
There's this player doesn't start anymore. You know what I mean? So you'll probably have to do something. I think most people for their first team they try to make a team for the second game week as well, so that they can immediately get the 2 transfers for game week 3.
Yeah, so I mean, the first game, I didn't. We these new managers coming in, new players, managers might not managers that might players that might have been key cogs in a
Yeah,
team might now suddenly find themselves on the bench.
yeah,
Um, you might see some players, maybe a Jeremy Doku, who might all of a sudden just start playing for City now from the start. Because I mean, especially in the
yeah.
FA Cup final, he made a difference.
He made when he
Um,
came on. Yeah,
or is he just an impact player? That's the question.
yeah. But that depends a lot on Grealish because he was injured for quite a while last
Yeah,
season,
true.
and and also uh, I don't think like I don't think people are going to keep like the intention is not going to be to try and get to five transfers just for the sake of getting to five transfers. Obviously, the most important thing is getting points.
Yes.
So I wonder how they actually thought of the number five. Like it's like such a outlandish from two to five is such a big jump.
Yeah, I think it's a bit high, to be honest. I think 3 or 4 would have been more realistic.
Yeah,
But as someone who doesn't make many transfers, I'm all for this change.
and also Newcastle's futures for the defenders. But for the defenders, it's always a risk. That's why you try to look for your left backs, right backs, your set piece
Yes.
takers. So
Yeah.
I
So I
think,
think. Yeah. Carry on.
yeah, I think the midfield is where most of the head scratching is because of the values of players. There's actually a lot of players that are like low value, like Jota is like 7.5. You know what I mean? Like Bruno's
Yeah.
8.5.
Yeah.
It's it's actually quite low.
I think Jota's more also to do with rotation on Liverpool side.
Yeah, I think he's one of
Uh,
the ones that I'm surprised is actually still a midfielder
mm.
on the game. I would have thought he would be a forward by now.
I see Son is still holding that value of 10.
Son
I
is
think
he's just but Son is like oh, I love Son.
no,
He's one
I
player
think
I
it's a
wish you
brilliant
could have
player.
signed.
Yeah.
He always has these purple patches in the season where he just like 2 goals, three
Yeah.
goals, three assists. He always does this crazy runs. Foden, I don't know. I had Foden a lot last season, but there's something about him that I
Yeah,
don't know.
again,
I
especially
feel
Manchester City, they like to rotate. I was
yeah,
surprised
yeah.
Foden wasn't
The Pep
rotating.
rotation curse, Pep
Yeah,
relate.
I was surprised Foden wasn't. He played as often as he did last season. Maybe that was also due to injuries like of De Bruyne.
Yeah, De Bruyne.
Um,
Yeah,
Grealish didn't feature much.
yeah,
Maybe that's why Foden played so often. But we all know that Pep likes to
yeah,
rotate his squad. And I also expect De Bruyne to not play as often as he used to. I think I think he's about 32. So
yeah.
that management needs to come. That game
No,
management now.
he's definitely going to be reset. Like I
Yeah,
won't even look at De Bruyne
yeah.
at the beginning of the. I'll just stick with Haaland, even though he's 15. Like guaranteed.
that's that's we can talk about that at a later at a later time.
But back to the midfielders now. Who do you think? Like you can see, like the top, like most people will have the top five in the teams, maybe up to Gordon probably.
Yeah.
But what do you think was the could be a surprise package for them or the midfielders?
So I don't know if this is much of a surprise, but I think Bruno Fernandes could have a good season. I think he's all, and especially when he joined, his stats were insane
Yeah, when he joined. Yeah,
for a midfielder. He had a, I mean, no United player really had a great season last season,
yeah,
except maybe Kobe Mainu when he came in.
yeah.
But again,
But he's not
based
really
on
a
yes,
fantasy player yet.
yes, but I think based on the rumors, they're saying Bruno might play as a false nine in the
Yeah,
first game due to injuries, so he
they said
might be.
Sancho.
Yeah, I still have doubts about Jadon Sancho. I still think they want to sell him. To be honest,
Babe, can you hear me now?
Yeah, what happened?
I don't know. It just,
Okay,
I don't know if
just
it was
disconnected.
an issue or something. Anyway, I don't even know. What was I saying?
But Bruno playing as a false nine or Jadon Sancho.
Yeah, I was saying in the FA Cup final, Bruno played up front, and I think he will most likely, because I think he will try to get Mount into the starting team.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you,
Yeah. I don't know how United are gonna line up. To be honest, I forgot that they signed Mason Mount. To be, they should have just waited for his contract to run down, and they could have gotten him for free now
yeah.
because he
But I
barely played
mean,
last season.
but that is part of your old problems signing players for crazy fees. Like we also wanted Mount, but we weren't willing to pay the amount that you paid, so we just left
Yeah,
it.
I also don't see what. To be honest, I don't get the hype over Mason Mount. I think he's a decent player, but there's not one thing that he really excels in. He's maybe a
Yeah,
7 out of 10 in all aspects, like a James Milner.
yeah. How do you feel about him
Um,
wearing the number seven?
there hasn't been a great run of number sevens since Cristiano Ronaldo left, so
Yeah,
um, it's not much to live up to.
that's true. But the key thing for him is just to stay injury free. Though. I
Yeah,
feel like he just looks like he's gonna get injured again for some reason.
yeah, and I think that's the problem. United need options,
Yeah,
which they didn't have last season. Yes, they had a terrible season. There's no
yeah.
getting away from that, but the injury record last season was shocking.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely.
Casemiro
It
playing
was
centre back, Diogo Dalot playing left back. It was just a complete mess.
like I remember the season. Remember when our defense was out, Van Dijk, Gomez, Matip all out. You
Yes,
remember?
yes. That was during one of the
And
COVID seasons.
then yeah, that was the season after we won the league.
Yes.
And then people were going on like, "Are we the worst defending champions?" Like, what are you supposed to do when your defense is out?
Yeah, no, no. I
Because
mean that's
like like you finish second now, and now you decide that the difference is Allison and Van Dijk, so you put them in your team to take you to first. So obviously, if they out again, you're not at first place team.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because your world class players, that is what they propel you to. So obviously, if you lose, that's why. Like I will make jokes of Ten Hag and stuff, but obviously, like there's no doubt that the injuries like heavily impacted your season. But
Yeah,
even though there are times where you had starting lineups out that were much better than the opposition, but you still played like terrible football. So that is
yeah,
like where the
yeah.
that is where you can criticize him for, but you can't like go at him for the injuries and things.
Yeah, look, while they had players out, it doesn't excuse the fact that structurally they
Yeah,
were just poor. They just
yeah,
looked too open. They
yeah.
looked like they were going to concede whenever they were attacked against. It
Yeah.
wasn't so. I still believe that he deserves another season, but it's
And
now
all the
make or break.
shots that you had
Yeah.
conceded.
So I
Like
don't.
when our defense was out, we would like lose like 1-0, 2-1.
Yeah.
We're gonna get battered 4-0, 5. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
every week.
So yeah, look, I don't expect miracles, but I expect some structure. And if they finish fourth or fifth, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah. What do you think, Salah? Do you think his value at 12.5 is justified after last season?
I think based on past seasons,
Yeah,
yes. But again, this is
I
a
think it is
player that's
justified.
yeah. But again, this is a player that's now well into his 30s. I think he just turned 32.
Yeah,
A
just look
new
at the
manager.
numbers; are crazy.
Yeah, it's insane, especially that first season. But
Yeah, the 32 and 12.
a new manager coming in, does he see Mo Salah
Yeah,
as indispensable as Jurgen Klopp saw him?
yeah,
It's a risk, um, even though he has the track record. But
yeah,
at 12.5, I still think it's a risk.
yeah. I agree, especially with the new manager. But I think if he's fit, he plays.
Yes.
The only time we he might not is when the Champions League comes around.
Yeah.
If we
And
get thrown against in the same group as Madrid and we're playing them the Wednesday, I can see him maybe not starting or coming off early in the game.
That's what I expect this season more for him
Yeah,
to come
yeah,
off,
exactly.
to be
Whereas
substituted more
previously,
often.
we just he's gonna play like the majority of. But there
Yeah,
was times last season where Klopp did take him off when he wasn't
yeah,
going
and I
well.
think it's going to happen more often, especially now. Liverpool didn't have
Yeah,
Champions League last season. Europa
yeah,
League, the step up from Europa League
it's a
to
different
Champions
level.
League,
Yeah,
and now with a whole new structure of the Champions League, I think it's going to be more competitive. There's going to be a lot
yeah,
bigger games, and there's more games as well. There's now eight
yeah.
instead of six group
There's
games.
eight. There's eight. Yeah, yeah.
So
And there's potentially, if depending on where you finish, you have another extra round before the round of 16 or before the quarters, one of the two.
yeah, I think if you finish between eighth and sixth, was it ninth and 16th, and then you go into
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
basically a playoff round.
yeah. So that's just gonna add to,
Yeah, fixture
and I'm
congestion is real
sure,
now.
we will have more 12:30 kickoffs as well,
Yeah,
as usual. Okay, so that was Salah, Gordon. What do you think of Gordon?
yeah. I think Newcastle players they should be seriously looked at. There's no European
Yeah,
football this season. I think
yeah.
they also had some injury problems last season.
Especially the
Um,
run at the beginning of the season.
yeah,
Also,
so they've got a good run. They don't have to worry about
yeah,
midweek fixtures besides
yeah.
your Carabao Cup. So the
That's
guy
true.
should be
Yeah.
fresh. Anthony Gordon didn't really play at the Euros. I don't think
I don't
he's
think
saying
he
that.
came. Yeah, he didn't play though. He only
I,
fell off his
or,
bike.
yeah, that scrape on his chin or his face or something.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, so I expect I expect
Yeah.
Newcastle to hit the ground running.
Do you think there's a possibility he comes to Liverpool before the window closes?
I think if Li-
Because that
if
will also now
Newcastle
obviously change things on fantasy.
Yeah, if Newcastle wanted to sell him, they would have sold him before that 30th June deadline because there were
Yeah,
talks about that because
yeah,
they needed to satisfy PSR. I don't think they really need to sell that. Look, let's be honest,
yeah.
they
They don't need to.
financially they don't need to sell.
Yeah, yeah,
Unless they and the PSR because the PSR deadline has passed, they don't have to worry
yeah.
about any points deductions or any
The
penalties.
only way it probably happens is if the player pushes for the move.
Yeah. I think
Oh,
to me it seems as if he's settled, he's enjoying himself.
yeah,
Um yeah, and I would have probably pushed before that
yeah.
30th June deadline if he wanted to leave.
I think he will probably stay another season,
Mm.
and I think we would wait another season because just to pay a bit less also, because the rumored fee is like 75, 70. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's quite, but considering they
It's
paid 40 mil for him, about 40 mil.
yeah, 35 to 40. Yeah,
Yeah, so they're gonna want double their money basically.
yeah, exactly. Okay, is there any other midfielders that you wanted to highlight?
Um, Let me have a look.
Do you know the Arsenal? No?
hmm
How do you feel about their midfield?
Um, I think Bukayo Saka is gonna obviously be a threat, cutting in from the right.
I just
Um,
want to plug in the charge quickly.
sure.
Oh, you can speak. You can speak.
So I mean, yeah, Bukayo Saka is going to be a threat, cutting in from the right. Um, I think he and Odegaard probably share penalty duties. Um, I would probably take. I mean, I would based on last season, I'd probably take Saka over Odegaard, but obviously there's a price differential as well. Um, Declan Rice. I think he scored quite a few goals last season. I don't know if he's going to score as many. He's one of those maybe one of those seasons where it's just have the golden touch and things just go back to normal after that. Martinelli, um, sorry,
I had a tough
Martinelli
season
and
last year.
yeah, Martinelli and Trossard, they were basically rotating last season. I think Trossard had a bigger impact than Martinelli did, but I still see Martinelli as the long term or the future of Arsenal.
How do you think? What do you feel about Arsenal in general, though, for the season? Because a lot of people putting them favourites.
Um, it's a tough one. I think Arsenal, whew, Arsenal Ish. So I still think they up front they need a
They're
proper
lacking
striker.
someone. Yeah,
I don't think Gabriel Jesus cuts it.
yeah,
Kai Havertz, even though he had a good season last season, I still
yeah.
don't. think he's up to scratch.
Yeah,
You can't rely on Saka and Odegaard every game.
yeah.
Um, so I think they're lacking there.
But
Defensively, they are rock
that's the
solid.
thing. That's the thing. That because they're so defensively solid, they only need one
Yeah,
goal.
yeah. I mean, they proved that in not only last season, the season before
Yeah.
that as well. I mean,
That, and
Saliba's
usually
a
once they when they take the lead, it's very difficult
yeah, and
to
Saliba
get
is
them back.
rock solid at the back, and they've got
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Calafiore in. Um, I haven't seen much of Calafiore, but they say he's a lot like John Stones, likes to bring the ball out from the
Yeah.
back. How that
But I
relate,
don't
how
know where
that's
he's
gonna,
gonna play because in the
yeah.
Euros he played centre back. Oh, they say he can play on the left. So I don't know if Arteta's just copying Pep with playing four centre backs and then
Or are they gonna go to a
it
back
turns
three?
to invert. I think they're gonna just play four centre backs and then they'll invert because Calafiori can bring the ball out and play
But
passes.
that's the thing. Like they haven't, their problem hasn't been defense though.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
they need to score more goals
But
because what
but
have we
they did need an
conceding is.
upgrade on Zinchenko. They did need an upgrade on Zinchenko though.
Yeah, I think he doesn't rate Kieran Tierney at all, so he's probably gonna go or
Yeah.
probably go
Is he
out on
still
loan.
there? Oh yeah, he's still there.
He's
That guy,
still
whenever
there.
I see him, he's injured. He's always injured.
Yeah. But okay, so I don't if does Ben White maybe go to left back? Can he play left back? And then what has happened to Julian Timber? Because I still think
Yeah,
that Timber's going to get that long term. But then
yeah,
what happens to Ben White?
yeah. But also
Even though,
it's Champions League, so I'm sure they will. Like I know he does the goalkeeper rotation. He did it last year for the Champions League and the league. So I don't know if he's
he,
gonna do that again.
it's a
I'm
lot of talk
surprised
about
nobody's actually making a bid for Ramsdale.
yeah, I think there's still talk, but I think we're getting quite far into the transfer window now for
Yeah,
for transfers. I think it's going to be a lot more panic buys coming up.
yeah. I'm after Caicedo's bid last year when it got accepted by us, and then we still didn't get him. I'd rather just wait until the club announces things nowadays.
I think it worked out better for Liverpool, to be honest.
Yeah, but I think if Caicedo came, it would have been a different player. But us
Yeah,
staying because Chelsea were also a circus. Well, they still are circus with their 50 squad players.
yeah. I just see they're looking at an Atletico Madrid striker now as well. Was it Samu Omarodian or
Yes,
something like
yes.
that?
I think they agreed the fee.
I mean, it's ridiculous that Atletico literally bought him last season for 6 million, and they're going to sell him for 35. And he didn't even play for Atletico. He went out on loan, and he scored something like 8 goals. And from what I've heard, he was pretty wasteful. So could he just be another Nicholas Jackson?
Jackson wasn't too bad at times, so
Yeah,
he,
but the guy was wasteful though.
he was like Nunes.
Yeah, but at least Nunes
Nunes,
had that. He's an imposing figure.
yeah, he works
Jackson,
hard. He makes the runs, you know. Yeah, but
I just
he's
don't.
got
Yeah,
Nunes too.
Chelsea's
Like
strategy
we'll
has
come to the forwards once to watch because I think Nunes is one to watch, but not at the beginning of the season because they didn't have a big season because of the Copa America.
yeah.
But maybe later on. And just before we go to strikers, James Madison, what do you think of him
What's
as an
James
option?
Madison's price? What's James
He's
Madison's price now?
7.5.
Same.
7.5.
That's good value for money, I would think.
That's,
Yeah, I know he also had some injury problems last season.
yeah,
But when he did play, that he was
yeah.
creating.
Especially because he plays like in the hole behind the striker.
Yeah, no, I think that's good value for money. Even
And he
Brendan
takes
Johnson,
the
I
set
think,
pieces. He takes the set pieces.
and he has a good free kick on him.
Yeah. Johnson
Brendan
is
Johnson,
very, I don't know. He's so hit and miss. He's not a bad player, but I don't know. He's not someone I would trust.
yeah, I think it's going to come down to him and Timo Werner also on the left.
Yeah.
Timo Werner, again,
No,
I'm
but
still not sure.
Johnson played mainly on the right last season, though.
Oh, is it? Didn't he
Yeah.
start on the left though?
Because
Uh,
Kulusevski came out of the team and then Johnson
oh, but I know he
played on
started
the
the
right.
season on the left, and he probably moved over to the right afterwards.
Oh, wasn't Son on the left?
Was on through the middle.
Who's his striker? Oh, Richarlison. They
Richarl, yeah,
needed another striker.
he's another player whose position has changed.
Yeah, he's one of the ones. He was a
But
midfielder before.
yeah, but Richarlison's very hit and miss.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
I
depend
don't
on him to get you points
trust him.
regularly in fantasy football. I mean,
Yeah,
122 points is not great for a striker
yeah.
who's played so often.
I saw Solanke's linked to them. I think that would be a good move for him,
He was a
especially.
Liverpool player, wasn't he?
Yeah, he came from Chelsea to us when he was like 19 or something, and then I think Rogers was there at the time. He never really got much game time because that was the time of Suarez and Sturridge. So he
Yeah,
was like in the background, and then he went to Bournemouth. But I like him. He's decent. He meant Tony, I think, would be good options for Spurs.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Ivan Toney. I think. I mean, everyone knows he wants to leave Brentford. He has a year left on his
Yeah.
contract. If I were them, I would probably cash in now. But at this stage,
I think towards the end. I think towards the end of the window, I think somebody will.
yeah, I think they're probably gonna wait and then someone's gonna become desperate and then buy
Yeah.
him.
I like Buemo from them also. From Brentford. He's a very good player.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's a good hard worker.
Yeah.
He'll get you
He's
an
a good
assist
finisher.
and
Yeah.
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 But
And
Brentford
I
are
think he's only 7.
okay. I mean, that's good value for money again for a
Yeah, that's what I'm
striker.
saying. This if you go to the midfield, there's a lot of like if you change the value to like from 9 downwards, like there's a lot of good options. Like even Bailey is a threat.
Yeah, I think he had a hot patch
Also Kudus,
last season as well.
Eze from Palace towards the end of the season was on fire also.
I think Chelsea are linked with Eze as well. Or Man City, I think it's Man City that's linked with Eze,
Oh my word.
according to Sky Sports, because Man City are going to
Wow.
have quite a bit of money now
I didn't
from Julian Alvarez
yeah. Some people saying that they don't want to spend the money because they're gonna need it for their court case.
for the 115 charges,
Yeah. How can you have 115 charges?
and the fact that it's
Not
taken so
7,
long.
not
Yeah,
13, 115.
I think it's
But apparently that this year sometime the court case.
yeah.
Or
So
early next year.
I think the tribunal starts at the end of September, and then we're looking at a decision or verdict early next year. But obviously, there's going to be appeals. City are going to take this as far as possible if they get punished, and I can't see them escaping punishment, to be honest.
But what kind of punishment do you think they'll get? Obviously they'll get a fine of some sort.
Financial punishments mean nothing to football clubs these days. The
Yeah,
only
but even though it
punishment,
means nothing, it's usually always attached somehow.
the only way you can really punish them is with points deduction. I mean,
Yeah.
if look at Everton, if they had to be hit with a £5 million fine, they would have paid it happily. But the moment
Yeah.
they got a 6 or 8 point deduction, they fought.
Yeah.
Well, not them really. It was more Forest that fought it so
Forest,
vehemently.
yeah. I think Leicester also might have a points deduction.
Yeah,
I'm not sure when that's happening.
so I think it's if they get relegated. I don't know if it's applicable
Because I
only
thought
to the
they're gonna
EFL
start the season. Oh, I see what you mean. If they get relegated, they start a new
mm,
season in negative points.
because I think that the EFL is like a separate legal entity from
Yeah.
the Premier League. So the sanctions, I don't know if they carry over, but
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
but definitely I think they will get punished at some point.
Yeah. I see Gallagher still. Yeah.
Yeah, even though he's
I
on the
was just
verge of
looking
having
at
a death row.
Sterling's. Madueke is someone that I think can also be a good option as a cheap midfielder. It seems
Yeah,
like he cemented his place from the preseason game he played in all, and he's actually scored a number of goals. Yeah.
yeah,
But he's
maybe
very clumsy player to watch, but he's quite effective
he
when
somehow
he's
gets
there.
those balls into the box.
Yeah, but
But it's
Sterling at 7. If you think of Man City Sterling, like it should be a no-brainer. But this current version of Sterling, I don't know. I don't know what's. He seems to only turn up when he's playing against Kyle Walker. And he just turns into this demon. And then the next week he's just average again.
maybe because he knew him so well at City, he came up against him
Yeah.
so often in training.
Yeah, it's like he
So
has a
he,
point to prove and he's so hyped up. And
yeah,
he
because
just
Kyle
turns him
Walker,
in and out.
because I think defensively Kyle Walker is uh, him
He's a
and
bit suspect nowadays. Yeah.
I mean, but
But
you consider the fact that he's 34, 35
yeah,
already, and he's
but
still
he still has that pace, man. He still has that pace.
the fact that he's able to keep someone like Vinicius Jr. at bay
It's crazy.
consistently
Even
is crazy.
Rashford in the FA Cup final also kept him with those long balls because
I
the
mean,
goal came
but
from the other side.
yeah, to be fair, Marcus Rashford would struggle against one of us though, based on last season's form. He's been terrible.
That is someone that wasn't coached in his career when he started. Since Van Gaal left, he hasn't been the same. His decision making is atrocious.
Yeah, and for me, he's had too many bad seasons. Not even okay seasons. He's had too many bad seasons. And at this level, you can't be bad for that many
For that,
seasons and
yeah,
still be at a club like Man United. It's
yeah,
unacceptable. I
yeah.
think they should have sold him.
Like in this window.
Yeah, they should have
Yeah,
sold
but
him 2 years
also,
ago. To be honest.
yeah. But I mean, that United guy, they're not gonna. That's like the poster boy.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Although they might change to Kobe Mino if
Yeah,
something comes.
look. Hopefully, with the new ownership, the whole perception of the club changes, and it's not such a club that's
It's
based on marketing and so much and more sporting institution.
just a quick sidetrack now. Like in Italy, I'm sure you've seen like Zlatan has played for Juventus, for Inter, and for AC.
Yes,
Like, would you like to see more of those kind of moves in the Premier League?
I it's happened recently more often than what it's used to. Like I've
But
seen,
not really like United Liverpool transfers don't happen. United
yeah,
Arsenal is very rare. That's usually someone that's like towards the end of his.
but you see
Like when
a
Percy was the
few,
last I remember.
yeah, but you see a few like City Chelsea transfers, um not really Spurs to Chelsea.
But
I think those,
they're not really like rivals. I
yeah,
think City sold Jesus and Zinchenko to Arsenal because I don't think they really saw them as a threat.
yeah, I
Because
don't think,
they
yeah,
would never. I don't think they would have sold Jesus to us, for example, if you wanted him.
yeah. But I mean, selling Zinchenko for 35 million, I would take that any day. And even
Yeah, yeah,
getting 40 million plus for Jesus, I mean, if they could have sold him to United, they would have done it. I think.
yeah. But I would like to see some. But the trouble is in England is strong. They won't sanction their
Yeah,
deals.
you won't
Like there was a time
see.
when Saka's deal was running out. I was like, why are we not going for Saka? He had like a year left or something before his new contract.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like
I'm,
those kind of things, like swoop in, make an offer, 50 million.
I mean,
You never know.
look at the hatred and vitriol Van Persie got when he left Arsenal and went to United.
Yeah.
It
And you see the
was,
things he said about Arsenal also.
yeah. I mean, you'd think not even twice. You'd think a few times before you would want to jump
Yeah,
clubs
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Yeah, that's true also. And okay, moving along to the forwards. So are you, in your mind, despite his value, is Haaland a no-brainer for you?
No, he's not a no-brainer. I think
Why?
I think there's value out there. Um, to put 15% of your budget onto one player is it's whew, that's a lot.
So,
Um, as someone who's very risk averse, I would rather not do it. I think also I think a lot of players are going to have him, and that week when he doesn't perform is when a lot of
yeah,
those teams will suffer. Especially when he's a captain.
yeah,
Like especially in his first season when most people had him as their captain every week, it was
yeah,
nullified because everyone else.
yeah.
When you got a lot of points, it was nullified. It meant nothing because everyone
But
else had him.
sometimes you have to just match people to survive until
Yeah,
this
no, no,
game if you see opportunity, you know what I mean?
yeah. Look,
Because I fall into that trap. Like, I always try to be different,
yeah,
but it never helps. It
I,
backfires
s-
most of the time.
I would still prefer to have Haaland over Salah though, because City lack options in the striking position.
That's true. Yeah,
Age, I think if he gets the right service, which he will, he's going to
yeah,
score 25 goals plus easy. Um,
yeah,
he doesn't get involved in the game much, but again, that doesn't
yeah,
count in fantasy football.
yeah. Exactly. It's
It
just
doesn't
about the
matter.
team.
Yeah, Doesn't matter how many
Yeah.
touches you have, how many players you've beat on a dribble. It means absolutely
And
nothing.
he will touch the ball 6 times, score the goal, and get 3 bonus in the game
Yeah,
as well.
it always seems to happen to him.
So if you don't have Haaland, does that mean you would have Foden as your City attacking option?
Again, Phil Foden, I just see rotation coming into play.
Because
City
Alvarez
are,
is not there anymore.
yeah, but City are known to rotate. They've gotten Savinho in now. I'm sure
Yeah,
they wouldn't
I
have
want to
sold
see
Alvarez.
redemption conditions. But he's
I'm
on the
quite
right.
sure.
He's a right winger, I think.
Mm. But Pep likes to swap these guys around. Who would have
Yeah,
thought that Gavadio would have been a left back or Ake being a
yeah,
left
yeah,
back?
yeah.
Um,
And
or
Ake, oh, Ake is such a brilliant player for them. Yeah,
yeah,
he's
I wouldn't have
really
thought that
underrated.
Akanji would even be playing for them.
Yeah,
To
even
be honest,
and Akanji keeps out like Ruben Diaz sometimes out of the team.
I mean they sold Laporte because of Akanji and Ake.
It's all yeah, exactly. And they never look back.
I also think that City
Um,
are going to play Oscar Bob
Xavier
a lot more.
6.5.
Yeah, Oscar Bob is going to play a lot more this
Oscar Bob
season.
is very, I like him. I like him.
Yeah, he's a good player, but I don't think he's going to play that often to warrant a selection in the fantasy football team.
No, yeah, definitely. You see Haaland, the problem with not having Haaland is Haaland's fixtures after the first game. Like the Ipswich at home. Like I don't want to sit on Saturday and not have Haaland while he's playing Ipswich at home. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
That's like torture on another level.
The problem with not having him is when you do want to put him in, you're gonna have to
It's
make
going to
quite
be
a few changes.
15.2. Yeah,
You're gonna have to make a few changes because of his price. Because no one
yeah,
else is anywhere near that price, you're gonna have to sell. You're
yeah.
gonna probably have to make two or three
I think
transfers.
I think Watkins is the next striker, and he's like 9.
Yeah, Watkins. I mean, he had a really good season, but again, Aston Villa playing Champions League, he's going to play. There's no doubt about that. I mean, he's their main focal point.
No, definitely, definitely.
But
I think they also need to strike because he can't play every game. Also,
yeah, so but again, is that
Turan,
fatigue?
Turan is average.
I mean, he came off the bench and scored a few goals for them. Leon Bailey
Yeah,
had a good purple patch
yeah,
also last
yeah,
season
very
towards
good.
the
Yeah,
end.
very good. See,
Um,
Villa also has nice runner fixtures,
yeah, besides that Arsenal fixture, they
but
have
at least
they
that
have
Arsenal
nice.
fixtures at home.
I see they've disrespected my team there in game week 7
Why?
with
Giving
with
you a
only
three,
the disrespect here.
but that is at home. What is it away? Is it the same? Do they keep it the same?
I'm
Where are
sure
you
it will
playing?
be
Oh, you're playing him on the final day.
wow, they gave United a 3 as well.
A 3-0. Yeah. So it just
That's
stays
that's
the same.
that's extremely disrespectful.
So Villa
Considering that
visit you on the final day, and you have Spurs.
considering that United actually did the double over for the last season.
I remember there was a 3-2 game.
Yeah, when they came back, I think they came back from
I
two
think
nil
at the
down.
Williams scored his first goal or something.
Yeah, yeah, they came back from 2-0 down, and I think they beat him at
2-0
Villa
down.
Park as well.
Yeah. That was when Douglas Luiz still did it. I don't know, some kind of
Yes,
celebration.
He did that celebration in front of Onana, and then they went to concede. I think McTominay
I think McTominay,
scored
yeah,
late.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm surprised he's not gone yet.
I think he's a good squad player. To be honest, I heard a stat today that he scored 10 goals last season,
Yeah, is he?
which is good. But again,
Yeah.
I think he played very high up the field
But
in
that's probably part
situations
of
where
why
they
you
needed
also,
goals.
yeah, that's also part of why you holding on to receive a bit more because it's not often you can get a 10 goal Premier League midfielder.
Yeah, I think
Because they don't
City
want to
will.
just, it's Fulham are trying to lowball you, but
Yeah, I think 20
you
million is
don't
a bit
blame
too
them
low for
also.
him. Yeah, I do
Yeah.
think 20 million is a bit too low for him. He's not the greatest technical midfielder, but based on the prices that players are going for, I think it's too low. If Conor Gallagher is going for 35 million to Atletico, who don't
Yeah.
in La Liga when clubs don't have that much, then
I,
McTominay
I I
should be
think
going for at least 30.
I think Gallagher is a good signing for them. He like suits that Simeone that running around like a dog in the midfield. You know that
But
style.
yeah, Simeone has a very settled midfielder of De Paul, Llorente, and Koke. They're talking about
Yeah.
Griezmann now dropping back because they bought
But that's why
Sorloth.
his legs will help them because they're also getting on a bit. But
Yeah. but Atletico could be a good. Look, I still think Real Madrid are going to win La Liga, but Atletico could be a could
I think Barca's gonna win the league.
you really I think they're going to finish third or fourth.
Barca.
Yeah, I'm, so Danny Olmo, that I think that deal's done.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
oh,
He
that
also he picks up his fair share of injuries also. Daniel Olmo.
yeah, I just think even if Barca do well, I just don't see long term where they're going to go.
Yeah,
Besides the players that they have, I mean, they have a good team, but the club is just still so poorly run that I
yeah.
don't know how they're going to recover anytime soon. The fact that they sold off so many
I think
assets.
they need. I think they need another season or two. Though. They need like the young wages out of the club, like things like that. Only after that, then they'll be fine because they have a lot of talent still. They have a lot
Yeah,
of good youngsters.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they have Lamine Yamal, they have
Yeah,
Gavi, they have Pedri, um, but who else really has been coming through?
they do have a few others. I'll have to check this squad, but they all. Ansu Fati's back.
Ansu Fati, that was a player that had so much expected of him, and I think
Yeah, but
he's I
he
think
got the
he's
injury. Yeah.
yeah, I
That's
know he's had terrible injury
still his
problems.
progress. Yeah.
They
Like if
even
you look
gave
at
him the number. They even gave him the number 10 shirt.
number 10, yeah, they gave him number 10. And that was straight after Messi also.
Yeah.
Like
But I mean,
besides Haaland, there's actually like no real world class strikers in terms of the options.
but I think that's a global
Who do
problem
you,
though. If you look at football in general,
yeah,
besides Harry Kane, Haaland,
yeah.
where else? And look, Lewandowski's coming to the end
Like
of his
I'm
career.
looking at his names and it's just like it's so like underwhelming.
Yeah, strikers, out and out strikers
Yeah,
are very rare.
yeah.
Like good out and out strikers.
Even like Darwin 7.5, like if
But again,
if he
we'll have to
finds
see.
form, it's a good option. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. We'll see
Rotation,
what does.
yeah,
That's the problem
rotation,
with
new
Liverpool.
manager.
Liverpool, they have too many options. Besides Salah, anyone on any given day can be on the bench.
And I think
Gakpo,
it's also
Diaz, Nunes, Jota, they can all be on the bench.
it's nice to have options, but you also need a couple of players who are going to be fixtures in the
Yeah.
team.
But but I mean I'm talking in terms of fantasy.
Yeah, but I mean that helps with fantasy as well. So if you have a Mo Salah, but again he's getting on in age. If you look at City, they have
But
their
he's still
Haaland, who's you have
yeah.
Haaland who's going to be consistently there though. You have Arsenal, you have Saka, and United. I don't know about United. I'd rather not talk about them. You have Newcastle, you have Isak, you have
Yeah.
Anthony Gordon. Liverpool don't.
Wilson.
Yeah, but Liverpool, I don't know anyone who's you can say for sure they are going to start every game.
Yeah. It'll only be if players are unavailable.
Yeah,
So if you know if Nunes is out, you know Jota's starting 100% guaranteed up front, you know what I mean?
definitely.
And that is what I'm looking at the beginning because Jota is a midfielder playing up front.
And
So
that's good for if he plays, that's good for
yeah,
managers, because you can
yeah,
get a point for clean sheet, you get extra points
exactly.
for a goal, and then I'm
Yeah.
sure the, with the bonus points you'll probably get more because he's not expected to score as many goals.
And the fixtures in the beginning is
Yeah,
favorable.
yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else? So for Game Week
Um,
1, the outstanding captain for me, if my opinion has any weight, would probably be Isak.
yeah,
Southampton at home, I don't see a easier game on paper. Perhaps Arsenal was Wolves at home. But it's also
yeah. So
difficult to pick an Arsenal goal scorer because like, it can be Saka, Odegaard, Havertz, any one of those can score.
yeah, so I had three players. I think Isak, he should be
Mm.
fresh. I don't think Sweden played in the Euros, did they? I don't think so.
No.
No, I mean Sweden weren't in the Euros. He should come back fresh now. I hope he doesn't have the same injury
Yeah,
problems that he has had. Saka's another choice. You know Bukayo Saka's going to play, and he plays
yeah,
90 minutes most of the time. And then
yeah.
my United bias is going to come through. I think Bruno Fernandes might be a decent choice as well.
For captain,
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
Bruno takes penalties. He'll probably it's between him and
but
Rashford for free
the
kicks.
only thing with him is that it's the first game of the season. Like, it's either you're gonna start off with a bang or your weekend's gonna be ruined in terms of fantasy. You know what I
Yeah, and
mean?
especially on a Friday night.
It's like, it's like the early game kickoff. I always try to not make a captain in the early game. Obviously, there's exceptions like when Ireland is hosting some newly promoted team or something. But generally, there's like this unwritten law that you don't captain the early kickoff. So,
And maybe I
like,
should take
like,
that into account.
like Bruno he's someone that's flirting with me in terms of the start of the season because of the false nine um, potential.
Mm.
Because Oilen is definitely out in who's the striker you bought?
Joshua
Xerxes.
Zirkzee, yeah.
He's also definitely out. So it's just a toss of a coin between him and Sancho, and I don't think Ten Hag will choose Sancho.
I
And
think
even if
Zirk,
he actually, even if he does choose Sancho, Bruno still should be no Bruno starting.
yeah. I think Zirkzee is available, but I don't think he's going to start.
Is he
It's for
available
the
for Saturday?
I don't know if he's available for the Community Shield. I think he will be available for the Premier League. I stand to be corrected.
Yeah,
But Bruno just creates chances. It's about but again it's about those players, other players
yeah, yeah,
finishing it off, and United have had a problem
yeah,
converting chances.
yeah. That's also true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And conceding a lot of chances also.
I again, I'm tired of being anxious when my team is defending. When you just see the defense parting like the Red Sea.
It's the midfield. Not actually the defense, it's the midfield.
Yeah, I think the question marks are in that midfield as well. I don't know what's going to happen with Casemiro. I don't see it getting better. Um, the legs are going, and Kobe Mainu needs someone next to
Yeah,
him and almost behind him to just sit.
yeah.
But deep lying midfielders or defensive midfielders are a dime a dozen these days.
Yeah. Just before we wrap up, GameX One's fixtures, is there any fixture where you see a potential banana skin result?
Let's have a look at the fixtures.
So we have United Fulham. Do
Mm,
you think that's a formality? Not a formality, I'm sure it's going to be a close game, but I think
I,
you edge it in the end.
I think I think United will take that. I don't think it will
Yeah,
be that comfortable. Um, I know you are not going to like this, but
well,
I think Ipswich could
yeah. No,
bring a
I agree
surprise.
with you. I agree with you 100%.
I think
Because it's only because they are a newly promoted team. If
yeah,
we
a
were
newly
early
promoted
kickoffs
team.
like
Yeah,
the Newcastle, like Forest or something, Bournemouth, then it would have been. But the newly promoted team, they're always buzzing.
yeah, especially
Like
at
we saw
home.
Arsenal lost 2-0 to Brentford. I remember when they came up.
Yeah, and Ipswich playing at home first game, the fans are going
Yeah,
to be really
exactly.
up for it. They could spring a surprise.
Yeah, we have to get the first goal. Otherwise, it can be you find yourself 73rd minute and it's 1-0 and time just goes so quick.
Yeah. West Ham versus Villa. I don't know if that's much of an upset, but maybe purely based on the fact that Villa
It's
are
a
now a
very tricky
champion.
game to score. I mean, to call. Very tricky game to
Yeah,
call.
I think West Ham they could take it, and then
Yeah.
the other one I'm looking at is Leicester versus Tottenham. I don't think Leicester are a championship team. I think they
You
are a
mean
Premier League
they
team.
think the Premier League?
I think they are a Premier League team. I think
Premier League
they were
team. Okay.
yeah, I think they were too good to be relegated the first time around. I think they would.
Okay.
I'm not saying that they didn't deserve to be relegated. I thought they were just
Yeah.
the squad was good enough to stay up and maybe finish mid-table. And they had a good squad last season. They had to now
Yeah.
sell Dewsbury Hall because of PSR.
It is very well. Yeah. Who did you go to?
But
Chelsea, no?
yes,
That's a
but
very
I mean
good
they've
squad.
still got a good team there. The team has
Yeah.
obviously not changed a lot since the heyday,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they still got Jamie Vardy, who's
Yeah.
still banging in the goals.
Yeah.
Harry Winks in midfield. Ricardo Pereira's
But
coming
he's
back.
old now.
Ricardo Pereira was a good.
He was
Um,
very good until his injury.
yeah, I mean, even in fantasy, that man scored
Yeah.
points.
Yeah. 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 He
Um,
did. Yeah.
so I mean, Leicester. I mean, and you know the King Power Stadium, it gets loud on a Monday
Yeah.
night. It
Yeah.
could be get very rowdy, and Spurs
Yeah.
might
He's
be in
playing
for a shock.
Spurs. Yeah. And Spurs with the Highline. I wonder if they're gonna do that again.
And she likes to play that high line, especially that game against Chelsea when there were 9 men
Oh
down
my word,
and,
that was
and
one.
playing
I
on the
couldn't
halfway
believe
line.
what I was watching that night. Honestly, I couldn't believe it.
And you
If all they had to do was defend, they would have gotten a point from that game.
and they allowed Jackson to score a hat trick. That's the
I
worst
agree.
thing. That's the
And the
worst
same
thing.
kind of goals. They just played it
Yeah,
through and pass it to the middle
yeah,
and tap in.
yeah. They did that cutback nonsense, and then he was in for a tap in. Even
Do
he
you think
couldn't miss
City?
that.
Yeah. Do you think City beat Chelsea?
I th- again, I think Chelsea. They're a wild card.
Yeah.
Um, they but again, Enzo Maresca against City, he knows Pep. He could
Yeah.
pull off a surprise. Um, but I think City will get the job done.
That's the kind of fixture that I want City to have, like in the middle of the season
Yeah,
when Chelsea's more settled with what they want to do and things like. For the first game, I think City are like 70-30 favorites.
and
I
you
think
know
Chelsea will
City.
give it a go with their home fans. The first game of the season, they'll give it a go, but eventually, I think when City get the stranglehold of the game, they will carve them open.
Yeah, I kind it could go. It could get very ugly for Chelsea, but if
Yeah,
they have a structure in place, they could they might well get a draw, but I don't think they'll beat City.
yeah. I'll take a draw as long as we win.
I'm not looking
You
at
see
to,
the
to be honest. I'm not
you
looking
see,
at other teams. I'm just looking at United. I cannot look at Arsenal. It
but you see
doesn't affect
with
me.
Man City, with Man City, the total points are so high. If you draw, I feel like when we draw a game, I feel like it's an uphill battle already. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because they're just so relentless. And then when you look at, let's say you draw like a game, and then you look at their fixture, it just always seems to be they have an easy game
yeah.
when
You
you
you,
play.
you kind of have to be perfect now throughout the whole season.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
There's not much room for slip ups. We
but
do. I remember the one season we lost one game against them. That was the only game we lost, and we lost the league by one
yes,
point.
2019, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
Was it when
crazy.
Walker or Stones cleared it off the line? I
It
think it was
was
Stones.
Stones. It was Stones. Yeah,
Yes, he cleared the ball off
yeah,
the line. Otherwise, you'd have thrown that game and then won the title.
yeah. And we would have been invincible.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't think, with all due respect, I don't think Liverpool are going to be challenging for the title. I think they overperformed last season.
It depends on. No, it depends on what we do between now and the end of the window. Also,
Mm,
I think we can challenge because of the experience of last season, and I think because of the opening fixtures might give us some momentum. So we have the kind of fixtures where you can clearly see we're not gelling yet, but we because of the opposition we can still get the results. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
But it's up in the air.
yeah. I
Like
think
it's
Liverpool.
difficult to call off the club. It's going
Yeah,
to be such a big change. Even
yeah.
though
My
even though his style is not that much different, it's just
mm,
the feeling. He needs a few wins and then things will pick up.
yeah. My feeling is that I think Liverpool overperformed last season. I think you guys had a really good season considering you guys had a few injuries.
Yeah,
You guys had quite a few players that left. But
yeah,
you needed reinforcements which haven't arrived yet.
yeah,
There's some players that are getting older. Van Dijk is not getting younger. Mo Salah's not getting younger. Um,
yeah.
okay, Allison doesn't
We
really
need to
count.
we need to bring the replacements now already. Like most
Yeah,
clubs do, they always have that person waiting in the wings for the next season.
mm. But for Liverpool again, like if I look at what options they have to replace Salah, I don't think they of that caliber. They're not good enough to replace Salah. I don't think.
No,
Uh,
there's no you can't replace Salah,
yeah,
especially his
Louis.
output. You can replace like playing wise, like someone that can run on the wing and all those things, but his output, his brain is so tuned positionally where to be on the end of things. You know what I mean? It's difficult to find anyone else like that, and that is why I
Yeah,
think he's going to be key this season. That's why I feel like we'll rather let him leave for free than lose him now.
does he have a year left on his contract?
He has a year left. Yeah,
Yeah, I think if you can get a year, look, let's be honest, you're probably only going to get a year or two at his peak now.
yeah. And
Um,
his output could be the difference between at least maintaining a Champions League spot.
yeah, and then I think he's done enough also for him to decide where he wants to go.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. His output has been ridiculous. Like nobody would have thought that he would have done what he's done. Like I wanted him when we were linked in because I wanted his pace, but I didn't think he would score 42 goals in his in his first
Yeah,
season.
that end product in his first
And
season.
and he missed, but he missed a hell of a lot of chances also in that
Yeah,
season also. Because
yeah.
he's
Look, I
not, I
mean,
don't, he's not really a clinical guy. He misses his fair share of chances.
yeah. He's not a striker.
Yeah,
I think,
exactly. Yeah,
but
just
I think I think that makes the goal output even
yeah,
better. It makes it so. I mean, as I said, I think he deserves it, the chance to decide where he wants to go. So if he wants to let his contract down, I don't think
yeah,
Liverpool can begrudge him that.
yeah. Yeah, just before we go, what is your prediction for the game on Saturday?
What's the Community Shield?
Should the UK?
Um, Look, any piece of silverware is nice. Um, it's it's a good litmus test for United. I don't know how seriously they're going to take it. I think Ten Hag, for Ten Hag, every game is a big game now.
Yeah.
He doesn't
No,
have
definitely.
that he doesn't have that leeway that Fergie had.
No, just
So
watch. The minute he loses two games or draw and a defeat, then you're gonna see all the headlines. Then
yeah,
out trending and all this. The pressure's on him
yeah,
from day one.
yeah, other teams can deny it as much as they want. The microscope that United are under is a lot bigger than
No,
any other
definitely.
team. So
Yeah,
one bad result,
yeah,
he's going to be under pressure.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
he doesn't need to win this game. I'll be happy if they just show, as I said, just to show a bit of structure.
I think he needs to
Show,
win the Fulham game.
yeah,
Like
yes,
obviously
yes,
not
yes,
literally, not literally needing, like because it's only 3 points. It's the first game of the season, but just in terms of the overall picture,
yeah, and
it's
and besides that, they need a good performance because last season
yeah,
they started against Wolves and it was a terrible performance. They were lucky. They were
yeah,
so
yeah.
lucky
You
to win
won.
that
That
game.
was the 1-0 game, no?
Yeah, and Wolves should have had a penalty right at the end.
I remember Cunha was like running through your team like 4 or 5 occasions by the end of
Yeah,
the end product.
and then I think it was at the end where Onana basically took out the
Oh, the
Wolves player, and
penalty.
then they didn't get the penalty. And then from that game, you knew something was not right.
Yeah, yeah.
So so this first game is very
But
important.
something has been wrong at United since David De Gea won consecutive seasons player of the season.
Yeah,
Because your keeper shouldn't be that much in the limelight. Something's wrong with your team if your keeper's doing that much. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
The fact that yeah, I think probably won 3 or 4 player of the season
Yeah,
for such a big
exactly.
club, your goalkeeper
Exactly.
you should not be
Yeah,
winning these awards. A goalkeeper,
exactly. Obviously, you
if
know
it's a
he's a quality keeper, but you want to see him actually do as little as possible
Yeah,
to win the game.
so that was indicative of the problems that United had. So it was a long time coming, but I still have a feel. Look, since Ineos are now taken over, there's been a lot of changes upstairs. I don't
Yeah,
expect it to be
upstairs.
fixed. I don't expect everything to be fixed on the field in one
Yeah,
or two seasons. It's like when
yeah,
FSG took over at Liverpool. Klopp
yeah,
didn't fix everything in one season. I think in his third season he got to the Champions League final and Liverpool
yeah.
finished third or something.
But at least, but the thing with Klopp is, this every year we progress.
Yes, and but that's what we need to
Yes.
see
So,
now,
yeah, yeah,
and that's why I give Ten Hag a bit of leeway because he didn't have the structure above him. It
yeah.
was
No, I
the
agree. Yeah.
and I think
But
now
also, okay, yeah,
yeah things are changing. You have Dan Ashworth, you've got Jason Wilcox, you got Omar Barada. There should be some structure now. There should be a clear path to success, and United fans just
but
need to be patient.
yeah, definitely. But the thing with me for Ten Hag, like I said earlier, there are some games where you have a good team out on paper, but the performance is so horrible,
Mm,
and I feel like he has had enough time to implement the proper style of play.
which
Like
he
if
hasn't.
like if Hoyland is your striker, for example, and he's scoring the goals, and when let's say for example then he gets injured, and now you put in Ketia, your team Nketiah should be still getting the chances, but Nketiah is going to miss the chances. So your
Mm,
style of play is everything's same, but you're lacking the quality of Hoyland. Do you know what I mean?
mm.
So now with Ten Hag, when some players are missing, they're not the style of play is just it's completely different. You know what I mean? It's not just the
Hmm.
quality that's lacking, it's the players in their position, they're just not receiving what they need to receive. So I don't
Yeah, and
know.
players are not performing on a consistent level as well. I think this might be a good season for Garnacho to really come of age, because I saw a stat that he's started 38 consecutive games
Yeah,
to,
he looked tired
towards the end
towards
of
the
the
end of
season.
back end of the season.
Yeah.
He looked tired. Yeah,
Um, but I think some good things. I hope Diallo gets a few chances. But Leicester come back. I mean, he should be ahead of
isn't he
Anthony.
getting sold?
There's been talks of that. I think him and Sancho, if the right offer comes along, they
I
will
think
sell
there's
them.
still between now and the end of the month. I think there'll be a lot of changes everywhere. I think there's gonna be a week where there's just gonna be
You might even see
transfers.
that one transfer that just is a catalyst for a
Yeah,
bunch of
exactly.
others, like in Formula One when silly season starts.
Yeah. I just hope we get a DM. Like I don't care who it is. I just need that profile to be part of the squad. Yeah,
Is
but you'll see what. Yeah,
I think Liverpool we'll have to see with Liverpool. I think them and Chelsea have, especially the first few weeks,
yeah,
it's going to
yeah,
be key, and they
yeah.
need to
Because
hit the ground
I don't
running.
know I don't know much about Slot, like besides like what you read now, but what he tries to do and things. But so it's just for me, it's a new experience.
Yeah,
It's not
it's
like Klopp, when Klopp came, you knew what Dortmund were like. You use rock and roll, gegen pressing. You know that's coming. With Slot, I'm not. I don't know what to expect. 100 exactly.
it's
So
it's
we'll
nice
just
for
have
us.
to see.
It's nice now that Liverpool fans can feel what United fans felt when Fergie left.
But I think we're in a better place than what when Fergie left.
Yeah, Fergie didn't.
But the thing is, at the time, you wouldn't say that he's leaving you in a bad place because you just won the league. You know what I mean?
But if you look at the squad, right, Fergie
They were
didn't
aging
leave United.
also.
Yeah, Fergie didn't leave United in a great state. Van Persie had maybe one
Yeah,
season left.
he had the one
Rooney was
season.
yeah, Rooney was getting on. Vidic was done. Ferdinand was done.
When he
Evra
aged
was done.
terribly.
And then you
Yeah.
had players like Anderson,
Yeah.
Phil Jones, Tom
Phil, isn't
Cleverley.
Phil Jones still there?
No, Phil Jones got released, I think, last year.
Oh,
And
oh,
unsurprisingly, he's without a club.
yeah. Even the guy was without the club,
Yeah,
surprisingly.
for me, I still think he's one of the best shot stoppers in the world. And
For me,
yeah,
no, he's my favorite Premier League keeper
I thought he
from
was
our position.
amazing. I thought he was amazing.
No,
I was
100%.
heartbroken when he left.
He bailed you out so many times.
Yeah, I
His
mean,
reflexes were ridiculous.
yeah, a goalkeeper's main job is to stop goals, and that's
Yeah,
what he did. The
yeah,
playing out from the back, that is secondary for me. The fact is,
yeah,
he saved United, and when he left, yes, he had a mistake in him, but he was still, I think, the best shot stopper in the league.
yeah. Not 100%. But Onana's not bad at shot stopping, but just he has these
Yeah,
lapses in concentration where the ball just goes under him, but in the next
yeah.
minute he flicks the ball with his finger over the ball. Like,
I think, yeah, the second half of the season he improved by quite a bit. In the
yeah,
FA Cup final,
yeah,
he
yeah, 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 yeah,
made a
yeah,
clanger though. And I was nervous.
yeah, yeah,
I was quite nervous when
yeah.
that went in.
Yeah, because there was
But
a lot of injury time. I remember.
yeah, but I mean they hung on, and look, might be getting sidetracked now, but United were brilliant in that FA Cup final. So if they can perform like that this weekend, and even if they don't win, I'll be more than happy.
You had your luck, but you forced the luck also because that first goal
Yeah,
completely changed the game.
yeah,
When
but
I
I
think it
still
was
think United were
Gavadio,
the
it was
yeah
Edison. No,
Gavadio,
who was the speaker? Was it? Ortega, yeah, yeah,
Ortega.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
think United were by far the better team in that game.
No, they
They
were,
deserved
yeah,
the
yeah.
win. Yeah,
This
they
deserved to
deserved the
win,
win.
yeah,
Yeah, they
hundred
deserved
percent.
their luck. That second goal especially was that
No, the
was a
second was
beauty
a
goal.
brilliant goal. Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
crisp move. Yeah.
So if they can perform in a similar vein, I'm happy even if they lose. It's fine.
No, exactly. There's a way to lose.
Yeah,
Like when
but
you
you
know when we lost to Palace last season, the 1-0 at Anfield. Like
yeah,
that was one of those games where if you that is the way to lose a game where you're just missing chance after chance after chance. Like
yeah.
you know what I mean? You've done like almost everything that you can do.
But you can't have a team giving up and not trying. That's the worst kind of
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
that you can have.
exactly. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, I will we'll speak again after game week one, hopefully,
Sure.
and then we'll see. Oh, there'll probably be a lot of draft changes between now and the start of the season.
Yeah, it
But
was a very entertaining and it was a
it's
good
actually like
discussion.
you can actually talk like for hours and hours about all the different things happening.
Yeah,
The
I haven't
family
seen you in
people
such a
now.
long time, and then we just got on this call and we spoke
Yeah,
for almost
I'll try to
90,
come
more than 90
on what
minutes.
days. I'll try to come play a game
Yes,
if I
yes, you must
can.
come play.
One
You
of
should
these
come.
games.
I will let you know when the games
I'm not
come
as
up.
fit as I used to be back in the day, but I still have a
Yeah,
brain.
that comes with marriage and children, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
But
But
yeah,
anyway, I'll see you.
okay.
Enjoy the
Thanks,
weekend.
Rushdi. Okay,
See
bye.
you. Bye.